Okay. Now, when I say process costing chapter, again we will try to wrap up in minimum time. यहाँ पे you can see process costing. It means we have to calculate the cost calculation of the process. What is process? If a student wants to become CA, there are 3 processes and calculation of each stage का cost. Final में what will be your cost, inter में what will be your cost, foundation में what will be your cost is process costing. Like if you want to clothes, if you want to manufacture t-shirt, तो process 1, 2, 3 like stitching, coloring, packing, whatever. Every process में what will be your cost that you have to calculate, and to calculate that you will have to make process account. अच्छा, अभी process account can be made in 3 types. It means this chapter is divided into 3 parts. One is normal question, which is without WIP, without equivalent wala part. We have 6 steps and it has this many sub parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we will discuss. If it is a question process account with a WIP, when I say process account with a WIP, it means we will say that यहाँ पे again कुछ 4 parts we will discuss and then last वाला part. चलो पहले process account we will say that without a WIP. Normal question WIP वगैरह है तो I will tell you what should be done, but normal question let's understand. Always first 3 parts में this chapter is divided. First you gonna make the process account. Let us say process account you made, and यहाँ पे when you make the process account, always understand process account will be made for how many lines. So process account will be made for 10 lines. So this, the gap which will be there, it will be of 10 lines. That gap will be there of 10 lines. अभी understand. Once I say this कि the gap is there of 10 lines, okay ठीक है. फिर यहाँ से आगे सर समझो. अभी when you write process account, यहाँ पे particulars you will write, then यहाँ पे quantity and amount, then यहाँ पे you will say particulars, then again you will say quantity, and then there is a amount. Particulars, quantity, amount, particulars, quantity, amount. Done sir. Now sir 6 steps are there. Step number 1, देखो यहाँ पे it is written also. Step number 1, once make the process account. Step number 1, on the debit side write input material in the quantity and in the amount. Debit side पे तो I will come to this side. I will say to input material whatever 100 units I have purchased at a cost of 1000 rupees, or let us say at a cost of 1500 rupees. Okay, whatever the cost is, then let us say 1000. Then I will incur again other expenses, that is to other material, some embroidery वगैरह का, then maybe labor or maybe overheads or maybe direct expenses. This is step number 2. Step number 1 was input, step number 2 is other expenses. So now step number 2, debit side पे again you will write expenses. Only in which column? Obviously only in amount column you gonna write. That is, let us say that 500, let's say that 90 into I need 1000 no? So 90 into I need 15, so 1350. Okay, so let us say this total expense is 350, let us say 400. Okay, so now let's understand ये 450 का आपका खर्च, 400 का खर्चा होगा. Now step number 3, that is by normal loss. It will be written in the question normal loss is 10%. When I say normal loss is 10%, तो 10% किसका होएगा? It will be of input. That is step number 3. देखो step number 3, that is credit side पे you will write normal loss, and it will be calculated on which quantity? Input quantity. Normal loss will be calculated on input quantity which is there on the debit side. 100 का 10%, you will show like 100 का 10%, you will get 10. Achha, if 10 unit is your scrap, you gonna sell it in the market. Scrap value will be given in the question. 10 into let us say 5 rupees is the scrap value, so you're gonna get 50 rupees. Acha, understand this. Now sometimes they will write scrap and weight loss. There is one question where it is written कि normal loss is 10%. It has 2 parts, let us say 8% and 2%, and 8% is weight loss and 2% is scrap. So whatever is your weight loss, it will not have any scrap value. Weight loss, it is evaporated. तो loss, तो जो scrap loss रहेगा उसी को into scrap value करने का. Hello, that is only 2 units into 5 rupees you must have done, which is your scrap value. यहाँ पे 8 units, but you cannot sell it in the market. There is one question वैसा है. I hope that is understandable. Now let us say 10 units you sold guys and you got 50 rupees. Now you will say CPU. Step number 4, boundary. तो boundary मतलब बोले तो बाहर आ जाने का formula. 4 decimals you have to keep. Total cost which is on the debit side, amount का minus amount का credit side, so you will get net cost, total quantity minus normal loss quantity. Like I will add this total, that is 1400 is my total cost, and 50 is my scrap value which I have recovered guys. So my cost becomes 1350 and my 1350 का cost is like 100 minus 90. I already know, sorry, 100 minus 10. Out of 100 I was already aware कि 10 is going to get scrapped, तो 100 minus 10 तो खराब हो जाएगा. I will get 90 sir. So my cost is 1350 for how many units sir? 90 units. So if I divide, my cost becomes 15 per unit. This is my cost per unit. अच्छा, I was expecting to produce kitna 90. Now your actual production can be more than 90 or it can be less than 90. Try to understand your actual production can be more than 90 or less than 90. So you will write by output transferred to next process. You will write by output transferred to process 2. X है तो Y होएगा, whatever. Okay. So let us say your actual output, it is expected output, हाँ, ये expected है, but that doesn't happen. Actual output is 95. Let us say actual output is 85. So 85 units you have produced and every unit cost you 15 rupees. 85 into 15 will give you 1275. So step number 4. Write down actual output transferred to next process, and if it is a last process, it will be written ki output transferred to finished goods. If it is a last process like process 1, 2, 3, you are preparing process 3, so given in the question and quantity into CPU, you will get this amount, quantity into CPU karke baad. Then sir, last step, close a process account. It is like your P&L account. You can imagine when you close P&L account, debit में if the balancing figure है तो it is a profit, credit में है तो it is a loss. Okay, so if it is on the debit side तो profit मतलब abnormal gain you will say, credit में है तो you will say abnormal loss. अच्छा, here is abnormal loss which is understandable also. I was expecting 90 and I got 85. तो जहाँ पे अगर आपको समझता है यहाँ पे 90 आना चाहिए था, मैंने 85 ही लिखा है, तो 5 का बैलेंस इधर ही आएगा. यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दिस ऑल्सो. देखो ये 100 है, ये 100 है, माइनस 85 माइनस 10 ऊपर का, तो 95 सब्सट्रैक्टेड, तो बाय abnormal loss. अच्छा, this can be taken as a balancing figure. 1400 minus 1275 minus 50, that is going to be 75 guys. Shortcut was like 5 into 15 you could have done, but that's okay. I always take it as a balancing figure. Wahi, if balancing figure is on the debit side, you will write this as a abnormal gain. Try to understand this. So this is process 1, quite easy. इसमें क्या discuss करने जैसा है, try to understand. First part I have discussed steps. Okay, steps के बाद. Now let me just discuss this. Output of process 1. If I just talk about output of process 1, it means first ये discuss कर लेता हूँ. The output, entire output transferred to the next process. Let us say my entire output is transferred to the next process. So by output transferred to next process, you will say quantity into CPU like this. 85 units transferred and into 1275 into CPU I did. But sir, if entire output is not transferred, sometime it happens. As a process A, you are not transferring those 85 units to process 2. Partly it is transferred, partly it is sold in the market. So it is partly transferred and partly sold in the market. So what you will have to do? Let us say, मैं 85 को दो पार्ट में डिवाइड करता है. 85 को, let us say 40 is sold and 45 is transferred to next process. So I will write 40 and 45 in this column. ये process account का credit side है यहाँ पे. Instead of this, what will come? तो whatever is transferred, let us say कितना transferred, 45, तो यहाँ पे आएगा by output transferred to next process, that is process 2, and whatever is sold will be transferred to costing P&L. Please understand, whatever is sold will be transferred to costing P&L. अच्छा, multiplied by CPU only, multiplied by CPU, which is 15 multiply. अच्छा, then this will be in the process 2 का debit side. 45 units are transferred into CPU 15 करके whatever answer appears, this will be P&L account का debit side कि 40 units into CPU करके जो भी value है that will be appearing in the amount column P&L का, and whatever 40 units you have sold at selling price, it will come here. So selling price is always recorded where? Sir, selling price is always recorded in process का, sorry, P&L का credit side. Selling price P&L के credit side में it will come. Be very careful with this. So I have explained this. If output hai, if it is entirely transferred or directly transferred to next process, if it is partly transferred, whatever is transferred, output transferred to next process, and whatever is sold, you will say by costing P&L. उसके debit में जाएगा, but जाएगा at a cost only debit side में. Okay. Now sir, if it is a last process, what you would have done? If it is a last process, तो last process में वैसे entire output is transferred where? To finished goods. अच्छा, यहाँ पे दो चीजें होती है. If entire output is sold, then you have a choice. You can transfer it to the finished goods, but it won't make sense अगर ऐसे बताओ तो सुनो. Opening closing वैसे तो ऐसा होता है. This is your process account. Let us say process 3, last process. It has produced 100 units. So be 100 units, it has two options. Either all 100 are sold, or out of 100, let us say 60 is sold and 40 is in the closing stock. There is some stock, then you have to make finished goods. That is partly sold and partly in closing stock. So you're gonna make finished goods account. So you will say कि 100 into CPU पे इधर आएगा, ये 100 into 15 पे let us say, then 100 into इसमें से कितना बेचा, एक second, whatever is sold 60 is sold. तो 60 into 15, this is quantity और amount के अंदर into 15 करके it will appear, and this is something which is sold. तो sold मतलब ये P&L में it will go, and something 40 which is there in the closing guys, that will be your closing stock carried down. Please understand this. 100 ये आपका process 2 से. अच्छा लेकिन process 3 has sold everything. There is no need to make finished goods. बना सकते हो but time pass हो जाएगा. Same thing will come in the debit side 100 into 50. Same thing will come on the credit side, and then this will go to the P&L which is sold. अरे उससे अच्छा directly you can transfer it to the P&L. If entire is sold directly by costing P&L. But something is sold वगैरह तो transfer it to the finished goods, then make two parts. Something that is sold will transfer to P&L. Something which is in the closing is balance carried down. I hope that was understandable. So what I have explained is this: output of process 1 and output of last process जब भी होता है. Shortcut में ऐसा है, this is whatever is transferred will be transferred to next process, that is process 2. Whatever is sold will be transferred to costing P&L. इसमें भी you should if everything is sold, so there is no finished goods only, everything is sold directly transferred to P&L. But अगर partly sold वगैरह है तो पहले finished goods में लेके जाओ, then उसके credit में whatever is sold will transfer to P&L, whatever is stock वो carried down दिखेगा finished goods में. then अच्छा now, so I have explained this 6 steps, then this part, then this part. Now let's understand what there can be a combination. देखो, when you make a business, either there is profit or there is a loss. Both cannot happen at the same time. Either there is a profit or there is a loss. So when you make a process account, either there will be abnormal loss which is appearing on this side, or there can be abnormal gain. Either of this will happen. Now what is the effect that will be given? That is something which is understandable. So now what is the effect that will be given? Let me give you the idea, a quick idea, so that quick run through हाँ कि ऐसा ऐसा will be happening, so you're gonna get the answer. Now you're gonna make two accounts, which is एक आपका normal loss account and let us say abnormal वाला part. ये discuss कर लेते हैं. So in this question, if you see, there is a normal loss, there is a abnormal loss. Step number 1. Steps are written, you don't need to follow, but still give the second effect. Step number SSC, that is second effect, sale of scrap and then close. So SSC करके 3 steps are there. Understand? पहला, second effect. So second effect is quite easy. Normal loss is appearing on the debit side का process 1. So I will say 2P1 अब normal loss के लिए भी 2P1 5 lines का. Process account is for 10 lines, process account is for 10 lines, normal loss is for 5 lines, abnormal loss also for 5 lines. Okay. Process 1, you will say sir 10 and 50. 10 units and then iska 50 corresponding effect, ye 5 and 75 which is there. 5 and 75. Sir, what is the scrap value that is there in the question? Please understand, scrap value is 5. Now step number 1 is give the second effect, which is quite easy. Two process. Normal के debit में, abnormal के debit में. Then you will just sell the scrap. दोनों के लिए भी. Buy cash bank. So now you gonna sell the scrap. Buy cash bank. 10 and 5. But sir, when you sell the scrap, what value you will get? Sir, you will get the scrap value. And what is the scrap value? 5 rupees. So यहाँ पे it will be 10 into 5. Again यहाँ पे how many 5 units you will sold? 5 units into 5. So that is gonna be 50, and 5 units you sold, every unit fetch you 5 rupees, 25 rupees. It means now if you close, now देखो, first was second effect, second was sell the scrap, second effect and then sell the scrap. We did that, second effect and sell the scrap. Now by doing that, now last step is close the account. So sir, it will tally, देखो, normal loss, third step. Normal loss will tally, normal loss account will tally, you can check that also, that normal loss account tallies. 10. अच्छा, abnormal loss में there will be a difference. 5 units, you incurred 75 rupees, but on this 5 units you recovered only कितना 75 rupees, 25 rupees you recovered out of 75, तो 50 रुपए का तुम्हारा लॉस है. This will be transferred to costing P&L का debit side. P&L वो debit में then it will be transferred. You can check this. एक second. हाँ. So it is written. Balancing figure will go to the costing P&L. So यहाँ पे you can do that. That is going to be transferred. This will be transferred to the P&L के debit side में वो. ठीक है. So this is something that we have done for a normal loss and abnormal loss. Now sir, next, now there is a combination of normal loss and abnormal gain. This is quite, yeah, देखो again second effect, then sale of scrap and then closure. Okay, चलो. Now abnormal gain, little complicated, so I need your attention. Little bit complicated, so please pay attention. ये normal loss account is there, then there is guys abnormal loss account. So abnormal gain account this time. Let me change the data for that matter. Now this time the output is higher, not what something that you expected. Let us say you guys were expecting output of 90. Okay sir, and you got, let us say that 93. So 93 units you got, into your cost was 15 rupees, 93 into 15, 1395. Then there is a closure, 93 plus 10, 103, 103, and 3 ka gain is appearing. Then 1395 plus 50, which is 1445. 1445 minus 400 minus 1000, which is 45, and that there is a 2 abnormal gain. Try to understand this. There is abnormal gain. Now what will happen? Again, I'm just giving you the idea. Please again do refer this video अच्छे से वापस देखना. Everything will be done in a short span of time. All points I'm trying to revise. Now guys, this is a combination of a normal loss and abnormal gain. Listen to this. Give the second effect, SSC. Second effect, sell the scrap, close the account. So first, second effect. So sir, normal loss is appearing where? On the credit side. So 2, process 1. Kitna units hai? 10 units. Into 5. From here it came. Done. Sir, abnormal gain is appearing where? It is appearing on the debit side. So uska second effect credit side mein aa jayega. It will come 3 into 45. 3 and 45 quantity and amount, that is 2 process 2 nahi, sorry, by it will be by a processed once it came. Okay, now sir, now you're gonna sell the scrap. Now here is a twist. Jab bhi there is abnormal gain, there is a twist. When you sell the scrap, you will never say buy cash bank. देखो buy cash bank के लिए हमेशा it is normal loss minus abnormal gain units. Why? Understand this. देखो, your input is कितना 100 and your output is 93. What is your actual loss that you can sell in the market? Sir, input is 100, output is 93. It means I actually have a scrap of 7 which I can actually sell it in the market. I can generate the scrap value which I can get from the bhangar wala, scrap wala, which is 7 units only I can get. Arey, I expected loss of 10 but हुआ नहीं sir. I expected loss of 10 but out of 10 3 का gain हो गया. It means यहाँ पे भी दो पार्ट होंगे. When you say buy cash bank, then there is a twist. You cannot say 10, galat. You cannot say all 10 units because out of 10, 3 is your abnormal gain. Because 3 is your abnormal gain, now you can sell only 7 units in the market. So you have to write like this. First write abnormal gain if it is there. So 3, and then you can write accordingly that balance wala part. So ye aa jayega. Then you can sell it in the market. And every rate gives you 5 rupees. So 7 into 5 will give you 35, and then 3 into 5, which is scrap value is 5 rupees. 3 into 5 will give you 15 rupees. So now first what I did, as in when you write buy cash bank, always check is there any gain. If answer is yes, there is a gain. So you should not write 10, gain ko minus karke you will say this is something which is actual scrap. So now first is this, dekho yahan pe it is written also that when you write buy cash bank, it should be normal loss minus abnormal gain units. And abnormal loss appearing in the normal loss account will be transferred to the debit of the abnormal gain. What is this? Simple hai. Abnormal gain which is appearing here will be transferred to the debit of abnormal gain. देखो, abnormal gain इधर appear हो रहा है तो उसका second effect 2 normal loss, 3 units 15 इधर से it will come. Now close, it will tally, normal loss will tally and abnormal will be having a balancing figure. It is like opportunity cost. Modi ji told me कि if you are घर पे you are sitting, I will give you 10,000. If I go to the job, I will get 12,000. So by going for a job, I am getting only two. It is if I am jobless. Modi ji gives me 10,000. If there is a job offer of 12,000, so that job offer is generating only 2,000 extra because I am losing that 10,000. Modi ji won't give me. It is only for a jobless. If these 3 units are scrap, I can generate 15. But because these are good units, I generated 45 rupees. So 15 तो I was any which ways generating. 3 units है 45 तो I was 15 तो I was any which ways generating. Extra कितना generate किया 30. That will transfer to the P&L. Okay. That will be transferred to the P&L. Steps please. Last time एक बार I'm saying abnormal gain वाला. पहला give the second effect which is done as give the second effect which is done. Sell the scrap. But when you sell the scrap, you should write two things. By cash bank, by abnormal gain. तो gain 3 का है तो you will write 3 and then 7 आएगा इधर 10 नहीं आएगा cash bank में and then abnormal gain का second effect you will transfer इधर and then closing of the accounts. Okay, that's it. So finally we are done with the first part. Yeah, it is discussed in quite detailed. ये वाला part and ये वाला part last वाला. Transfer to costing P&L. If I just talk about transfer to costing P&L, try to understand. Sometimes the question will ask you to make the costing P&L account. Try to understand. If you guys make P&L account, if you guys make this P&L account, to understand this, यहाँ पे what will you write? First of all, if process A or process 1 के credit में if there is any costing P&L or process B के credit में if there is any costing P&L, that will come on the debit side. That is cost will come. Multiply with the selling price, sales value will also come. तो पहला क्या आएगा? देखो, the first part that will come, is it written? नहीं, I think it's not written. Yeah, so the first part will come is this. Cost and sales will come. अच्छा, once you write cost and sales, okay, done sir. उसके बाद, is there any abnormal loss? So that will come here. If there is abnormal gain, that will come here. From abnormal loss and gain account. If you don't want to prepare abnormal loss wala account, there is a shortcut also. And what is the shortcut? Shortcut is this. Total CPU minus scrap value into quantity. You will get that abnormal loss wala answer. देखो कैसे यहाँ पे I would have done that. Abnormal के लिए चलो, ये मेरा 15 था और ये scrap value ये था. तो CPU was 15, scrap value was 5 minus I got 10 rupees as your answer and 3 rupees was your units. So 30 rupees is your gain, net gain, which is there appearing. 30 rupees is your gain which is appearing. So there was a shortcut, total CPU minus scrap value, will get net benefit. Ki sir, I was generating 15 rupees. In which was 5 rupees I was generating because it is good units. Now we are generating 15. So we are generating extra 10 rupees for 3 units. 30 rupees वैसा. और loss के लिए भी वैसा ही होगा. अच्छा. So now what will come in the costing P&L account? Please understand. पहले cost process के credit side से it will come. Sales value will come. Then on the debit side there is abnormal loss, credit side में abnormal gain, either from the account or a shortcut is also there. There are some common expenses. Like sometimes there is a common expense, they will give you the ratio of the apportionment. If given तो वो process में आएगा. Like there was a question where it was written overheads. Process A का data was given, process 2 का data was given, material and labor everything, and overheads are 30,000. And it is written overheads are dependent upon wages. It means overheads can be distributed between process 1 and process 2 based on wages. So it is distributed. So it will come in the process ka debit side because you distributed that, but you don't distribute. Let us say selling and distribution or indirect expenses. Nothing is mentioned. So it is company ka cost, selling and distribution or indirect expense. Nothing is mentioned. How will you distribute? So it will be written in the company ka debit side. It means वो common expense company के debit में आएगा P&L में. अगर ratio दिया गया है, yes, it will go in the process account in that specific ratio. If ratio is not given, so that expense is a common expense. Actually, it will come to the P&L account. So, yeah, we have discussed everything. P&L भी discuss कर लिया, ये भी discuss कर लिया. Normal, abnormal also we have discussed. Now, guys, let's come to the WIP वाला part. Let us come to the WIP वाला part. What is there करके with reference to WIP. Try to understand. यहाँ पे क्या करना है? I can just simply give you the idea. These are the steps you will have to follow. Just listen to those carefully. First, again, you guys have to make the second में यहाँ पे process account. Particulars, quantity, amount. Particulars, quantity, amount. You're gonna make the account. ठीक है sir. Once you make the account, इसके आगे क्या? Again, it has 6 steps. Step number 1. Read the question. Whatever is there in the question, just transfer it to the P&L account. देखो जरा इधर. Sorry, process account. Process account. read entire question and fill up the process account. What will be there in the question में रहेगा to opening WIP, just transfer that. अच्छा, then it will be input material, again transfer that debit के अंदर, then there will be labor, then there will be overheads वगैरह, just transfer that. So just read the question and transfer the things. अच्छा, if it is written in the question by normal loss, so again transfer that, then it will be written by output transferred to next process, transfer that, value will not be given, that is a question mark. Then it will be written by closing WIP, transfer that, value will not be given. So these two values will be missing, this will not be given. So now I can say that when you solve the question, something like this will happen. Read the entire question and fill up the process account. यहाँ तक का डेटा आ जाएगा. Now next step, close the quantity column. When you close the quantity column, which is second step, देखो, if you close the quantity column, अगर balance debit में है, it is abnormal gain. If the balance is on the credit side, it is abnormal loss. Now while closing this, if the balancing figure is appearing here, it is going to be abnormal gain. If it is appearing here, it is going to be abnormal loss. But what you don't know is, you only know the quantity, you don't know the value. Again, there is a question mark. So there can be three question marks which can be there. Obviously, these two cannot coexist at the same time. It cannot exist. Either it will be abnormal gain or it will be abnormal loss. Okay. So let us say that either ये है या तो चलो abnormal loss ले लेते हैं. Okay. Now step number 1 and 2 is common. There is no problem with that. Now it depends. You have to make 3 statements, guys. 3. कौन सा? पहला quantity का बनाना पड़ेगा. उसको बोलते हैं equivalent production, which is quantity का statement multiplied by CPU, and then you will get cost, guys. This is cost per unit. Number of units are calculated here. Multiplying this will give you the total cost. Okay. So 3 statements you will have to make. Statement showing equivalent production. Then, sir, you will have to make statement showing CPU. Pehle quantity, okay, multiplied by CPU. If you multiply both, you will get total cost. That is statement showing apportionment of cost, distribution of cost, whatever you say. Okay. आगे बढ़ते हैं. When I say equivalent, अभी यहाँ पे there is a twist. Sir, what is the twist? The twist is either question can be solved with the help of FIFO method or with the VAM method. Sir, if question is silent, which method you will follow? It will also come. Do not worry. If question is silent, method to be followed, it will come in the 4th point. But पहले they will specify, let us say कि sir ये method follow करने का. अब ध्यान से. I agree. Okay. Now यहाँ पे आते हैं. Let us understand. So sir, either we will have to follow FIFO method or we have to follow VAM method. Sir, what is the difference? When you follow FIFO method, you will think only about current period. You follow VAM, so you take previous year ka everything, you aggregate, take the total, that is last period plus current period you do, which is last period plus current period. That is what you do. Okay. In the VAM method. Done, sir. Samajh mein aata. That is something we understand. Now what I have done is I have step number 1 and step number 2 I did, which is I made the process account. Then I have closed the quantity column. Now let us say in the next step I made statement showing equivalent production. Okay, just let me discuss the FIFO method first. I say so, then I will go to the VAM method. Okay, now understand. If I say FIFO method, so I will say that whatever units I have, let us say that यहाँ पे just numbers I will have to take so that I can give you the clarity. Let's say this is 100, abnormal gain नहीं ले लेते हैं, ये 100 है, ये 200 है, normal loss 20 है. So now if I need to fit the values, it is 300 minus 20, 280 I have. So let's say this is 150. So 130 I have, so it is 100 and it is 30. Chalo. So something like will be there. Now this is understand. ये 3 का I need answer. So I will write this everything. तीनों चीजें में लिख देगा इधर देखो. By output transferred, by closing WIP, by abnormal loss. Whatever units I have, like 150, 100 and 30. So that is 150. 100 and 30. But now the twist is, if it is a FIFO method, I know first I will produce what? If it is a FIFO method, guys, first you will produce this 100 वाला. ये पहले 100 वाला तुम बना दोगे, तो अगर तुम 100 वाला बनाओगे, it means it has 2 parts. First is opening WIP completed, and then 50 is something which is started and completed from this. That is वो 50 इधर 200 में से आया है. Okay, तो पहले मैंने 100 बनाया रहेगा. Now understand. तो sir, how does that matter? It does matter. Understand कैसे? अगर if it is opening WIP, it will be written opening WIP is 80%. Sir, what does it indicate? When I say opening WIP is 80%, मतलब beginning में 80% work was done when it was at the beginning. तो सर मैंने कितना क्या रहेगा? I must have done remaining 20% work. It means if it is opening WIP, तो percentage is given 80% in the question. You won't take 80. You will say 100. 80 में से 100 you will subtract and you will write only 20 because 80% work was done in the previous period. What I did in the current period, I am following FIFO method. So what is the work done in the current period? 20%. So when it is started and completed, sir 0 से शुरू किया, 100 always 100. To understand this, what you need to remember, कि if it is opening WIP वाला part, you don't have to write the percentages given, you have to write the balance. If they say 60% in the question, you have to write 40%. अच्छा, it is इसके लिए it is always 100. Closing WIP is something which you started from 0. तो 0 से लेके मतलब बिगिनिंग से ये वाला फ्रेश वाला स्टॉक है, इट इज दिस स्टॉक, इसमें से दैट क्लोजिंग WIP विल बी देयर फ्रॉम हियर बिकॉज दैट 100 तो यहाँ पे 150 में आ गया, तो 200 इज समथिंग व्हिच स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम 0, नाउ इट इज गिवन एज 80%. तो यू विल राइट 80 ओनली. क्लोजिंग WIP के लिए वॉट एवर परसेंटेजेस आर गिवन यू हैव टू राइट दैट. अच्छा, नेक्स्ट ईयर में व्हेन इट बिकम्स ओपनिंग WIP देन यू विल राइट 20%. बैलेंस यू मस्ट हैव डन कि 80 का 20% अभी बचा हुआ काम किया. नाउ यू डिड 80% वर्क. ओके. Abnormal loss, there is a note for that matter, guys, that preference one percentage is given in the question, but if question doesn't give any percentages, then you can take 100. It is up to you. Then you will take 100%. Okay. अच्छा चलो, let me just again rapid recap. First you gonna copy these three things. ये three things को then you do one thing. ये दोनों को आप दो पार्ट में डिवाइड करोगे. ये दोनों को one will be 100 and one will be 50. इसको you will say opening WIP completed and you will say started and completed. अच्छा, opening WIP के लिए whatever percentages are given you will not write that, you will take the balance. If they give you 80 you will write 20. Starting वाले के लिए started and completed you will always write 100%. अच्छा, then this 100 के लिए closing WIP whatever percentages are given in the question, 80% given, 80% right. Abnormal loss they will give you the percentages. If it is not given you can take 100%. Okay. So if abnormal gain, logically everything was explained. Now I am just going mathematically. Abnormal gain is on the opposite side. So if abnormal gain is given, let us say there is abnormal gain of 30, so you will have to subtract that. Logically everything was explained, just remember this as of now. So gain को लेके two rules. If it is gain in the question, in this statement it will be subtracted and it is always 100% because it is gain. वो पूरा product बन गया होगा if it is gain. So what you need to remember, gain है, it means it is 100%. It is on the opposite side, you need to subtract. Logic was explained in the regular class and you have to take 100% always. कंप्लीशन वाले में परसेंटेजेस एंड ये क्वांटिटी जो होता है तो परसेंटेजेस में यू विल टेक 100. ओके. नाउ अच्छा, देन बाय डूइंग दिस यू विल गेट द क्वांटिटी कि कितना काम हुआ, मटेरियल, लेबर, ओवरहेड, परसेंटेजेस, क्वांटिटी, परसेंटेजेस, क्वांटिटी, परसेंटेजेस, क्वांटिटी. यू विल गेट द क्वांटिटी कि मटेरियल का कितना क्वांटिटी, लेबर का कितना, ओवरहेड का कितना, यूनिट्स यू गॉट. जस्ट सर आई नीड CPU, एक यूनिट का कॉस्ट कितना है. सर हाउ विल यू गेट द CPU? सो in this case what can be said is CPU you will get like this कि you will write the cost incurred in the current period from where it will come. ये process के debit side से it will come, process का. If I say process account, तो process account का जो debit side है this is the cost, ये three cost that you will write. This is cost and this cost is incurred, material का, labor का, overhead का in the current period on how many units. अच्छा, if there is a scrap, material में से you will subtract, which scrap you will subtract? Process का credit side. प्रोसेस के क्रेडिट साइड में whatever is the scrap that you will subtract and whatever is your net cost will be divided above वाला quantity you will divide जो ऊपर आया हुआ है. Once you divide that quantity you will get CPU. CPU how many decimals you will keep? 4. And then once you get this, what you just need to do is either जो मटेरियल है, लेबर है, ओवरहेड है, तो दिस इज द ओपनिंग WIP का वर्क डन, then started and completed का work done, that you know इतना काम हुआ है whatever. So into 3 CPUs are there. So let us say I need to find the value of this output transfer to next process. So I will take these 3 quantities कि opening पे this much work is done in the current period and what is the cost per unit of current year, both will be multiplied and then I will get the cost. देखो ये ऐसा equivalent production into CPU, I will get the cost and this is the cost which is incurred in the current period. Hello, you make a cake, if you manufacture a cake तो उसके ऊपर आज आपने 800 का खर्चा किया, प्रीवियस में yesterday you incurred 200, what is the total cost? तो even you have to add last year का खर्चा also. From where will it come? Last period का cost will come from here. प्रोसेस का डेबिट साइड, हेलो, प्रोसेस का ये डेबिट साइड जो अमाउंट कॉलम है, फ्रॉम हियर इट विल कम. ओके, नाउ then I can say that same goes with closing WIP का आंसर निकालना है. You will take the quantity which is appearing and into CPU. If you want abnormal gain का same. Now the only change with the VAM method is it is quite easy. Sir, why VAM method is easy? अरे बाबा, you are not going to distinguish. सुनो, आप distinguish नहीं करेगा. You will just write this. ये बना है. I don't know ये 150 कहाँ से बना. I don't know 150. I just know totality में 150 I have produced. Maybe from opening I don't know. Everything is mixed. So in totality the work done is last period plus current period. What is VAM? It is last period plus current period. So in totality what is the work done? So I will write like this सीधा 150. Then let us say closing में कितना है 100 and then 30. 100 and then 30. And then I will say on this some work must be done in the last period. I don't care, I need total work done. So sir पूरा काम 100% work is done always, because that is why we have transferred it to the next process. So 100% work is done. Maybe some work is done in the previous period, some is in now वगैरह वैसा. 100% that is percentage is given in the question closing WIP के लिए, and abnormal loss के लिए again the same note, abnormal gain का भी same note. The only thing that changes यहाँ से यहाँ आने पे is this यहाँ when you switch ये वाला part. Opening WIP you do not have to bifurcate and you should write 100%. If it is FIFO method you should bifurcate opening ये output transfer वाले को opening के लिए balance percentages and then remaining के लिए ये ऐसा. ये just you need to remember. अच्छा, then if it is a VAM method you think about total. तो even here cost में current period minus scrap that will come, but one more cost will be added. You need total cost, right? Weighted average. तो you will add last period का खर्चा also. From where will it come? Last period का cost from here. Question में एक सेकेंड, हाँ, क्वेश्चन में दिस कॉस्ट इज देयर आपका ओपनिंग का, उसका बाइफर्केशन विल बी गिवन, कितना मेटल कितना लेबर कितना ओवरहेड, दैट बाइफर्केशन विल बी गिवन. सो दैट बाइफर्केशन वी विल राइट डाउन कि मटेरियल का, लेबर का, ओवरहेड का, लास्ट ईयर का कॉस्ट प्लस करंट ईयर का कॉस्ट माइनस स्क्रैप, यू विल गेट दी वैल्यू डिवाइडेड बाय इक्विवेलेंट प्रोडक्शन. तो आपको एक एवरेज सीपीयू आ जाएगा एंड देन सम मल्टीप्लाई द थिंग्स एंड यू विल गेट दी आंसर. यहाँ पे लास्ट ईयर का खर्चा ऐड करने का जरूरत नहीं है. व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज ओनली जस्ट टेक द क्वांटिटीज. यहाँ पे क्वांटिटीज यू गोना टेक ओपनिंग की 1 2 3 quantities, then 3 CPUs जो भी है, that's it, and you're gonna get the answer. Okay, so now something which is very important, last में you're gonna close the columns. Debit में abnormal gain amount वाला column you will close at the end. Second step में you have close quantity वाला column. Sixth step में you're gonna close amount वाला column. अच्छा, last एक normal loss वाला please understand, which is understandable but still. If normal loss is 10% of total input, it means it will be calculated on 600 total input, मतलब opening and input दोनों का. If normal loss is 10% on only input, it is written only input, it means it will be calculated on this 500. Total input including opening मतलब you will add both. तो इसका 10% you will calculate total वाले में, and if only input is written तो इसका 10% you will calculate, and then if it is written normal loss is 10% of production, so when I say production तो opening plus input minus closing, that is 100 plus 50 500 minus closing, you will get production, and then uska you will calculate 10%. Acha, then can be normal loss 10% of good units transferred to next process. When I say good units transferred to next process matlab I have transferred 400 units, तो उसका 10% करके वैसा आ जाएगा. Few points here and there which you need to understand. Conversion cost matlab it is labor and overhead. Labor and overhead, it becomes your conversion cost. Okay, so sometimes they use that word. Okay, and then if there is only one question for that matter, if question has two materials, if you are solving question of second process or third process, let us say third process, so you are receiving material from process 2, you are adding your own material. There are two materials, first which is purchased or taken from process 2, and then you are adding your own material. So there will be one, now this column will be there, input material, other material which you are adding, then there is a labor and then there is overhead. Normally solve this question as you solve. And input material के लिए just remember this. Input material के लिए पहले वाले statement में, production वाले में, there is input material. Just remember, opening के लिए write down nil and rest is 100%. Opening के लिए write down nil and rest is 100%. It is written opening के लिए nil and rest is 100%. Logic is explained again. And material B you solve like normal, material, labor and overhead as you solve other वाला part. खाली input के लिए remember this percentages. And if there is a scrap value should be subtracted from input material. It is like your main material cloth. And as a process 3 you are doing embroidery on that. Okay. Last part, method to be followed. Please understand. Method to be followed में now it should be understandable. अगर आपने revise किया है, it is a rapid fire revision, but try to understand this. Method to be followed में preference 1, method specified in the question they will tell you. But अगर if question is silent, if that happens, you have to check opening WIP. देखो, when you follow FIFO method ना, you need percentages का bifurcation. Opening में कितना work was done, because whatever is your output in FIFO method, what you do? Let me explain. If FIFO method, what you do, whatever is your output, you have to divide that into two parts. And what is the work done in the previous period? Material, labor, overhead. Let us say 80, 60, 60. So what you will write is 80 में से now you will do remaining 20, 40, 40. So percentages are required in FIFO method. So if data is given in percentages, you will follow FIFO. But if data is given amount में bifurcation, मतलब आपका जो opening WIP है, whatever the data is there, if units के लिए percentages are given, what was work done, material का, labor का, overhead का, तो it is FIFO. अगर amount का bifurcation is given, because when you follow VAM, to get the CPU, if you understand, to get the CPU VAM method में last year का material cost you need, labor cost you need, overhead cost you need, तो amount का bifurcation you need. तो अगर amount वाला data है, then you can follow this. It means it is written opening WIP is 100 units and your cost is 10,000 okay. If it is given like this case में से material, labor and overhead work done is 80, 60, 60, only this much is given, then you have to follow FIFO. You cannot follow VAM, हो ही नहीं सकता, इसका bifurcation नहीं है. But अगर इसका bifurcation है कि 1000 में से material, labor, amount में कि इसमें से सर ये 500, it is 300, it is 200, then you have to follow VAM. Sir, if both are given, then it is your wish. If any one of the given, so you have to go with that. If both are given, you can follow any method. Inter-process profit का we did one question. Please do revise that. उसमें बस ये याद रखना, जब आप cost plus profit is equal to transfer price करते हो, तो cost is something which comes from this. This is cost to the process. That you need to understand. And एक prime cost वाला, the format is like this. Opening WIP, material, labor, you get gross prime cost, then minus closing stock, you get net prime cost, because stock is valued at prime cost. It was written specifically. Whenever question comes, they write this. Then net prime cost के बाद you add factory overhead, then you get total cost, and then आगे का profit वगैरह add होता है. And columns में 3 column बनते हैं, cost, profit, total. 15 lines का format रहेगा inter process profit का. And yeah, this is the revision that we are done with.